You're chatting with one of your friends, and then they ask you to share a photo that the two of you took. Your first instinct is to use AirDrop, but of course, they're an Android user. Then you think, I could send it over text, but that compresses the picture. WhatsApp has an option to send in HD, but then Facebook has my data. There has to be a better way. LocalSend is that better way. It's completely open source, it doesn't upload anything to the cloud, and it's cross-platform. You can head over to localsend.org, and you can go to the downloads page, and they have support for Windows, Mac, Linux, Android, and iOS. Their minimum operating system requirements are pretty relaxed, especially on Android and iOS, so you shouldn't have any issues with installing it. They recommend that you install it from an app store or package manager because it doesn't get automatic updates. So I'm going to install it on Linux. And because I'm using Arch Linux, by the way, I'm going to install it from AUR. So as soon as you open it up, you're greeted with this screen that shows you your host name, and you'll see on the left-hand side, there's options to receive, send, and settings. I'm gonna hop over to settings real quick. If you're a frequent user of this application, you can have it auto start on login. That way you don't have to keep launching it every time. So there's a function to enable quick save. I personally wouldn't do this because if somebody has taken your device fingerprint and is spoofing it, they could potentially send you a malicious file. I don't use this frequently enough to warrant having quick save enabled. I think it even warns you when you enable this. So it says that be aware anyone on the local network can send you files. And if you have the favorite option, it will also warn you about the exact issue that I was talking about. You have an option to enable requiring a PIN. You can select a default folder. I personally like the save to history function. It makes it easy to find things that I've sent. You can change your device name. So on here, I'm going to change this device to desktop. And I'm going to restart the server. But I'm going to back out, go back to receive, and you can see my my device name has changed to desktop. All right, so I'm going to go over to localsend.org, and I'm going to install the app. It's worth noting that LocalSend needs to be open and on screen for the device to be discoverable. If somebody else's device is not showing up for you, that's the first thing to check. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and rename this device to Galaxy S10, which is what this phone is. I can restart the server. Okay, it says it's got my desktop here. I'm going to transfer an embarrassing video that I totally don't want on the internet of me from my computer to my phone and then to my iPad. We'll make sure that the file is still playable on each of the devices, and we'll check to see if the metadata is still intact. So the file creation date should still be accurate. So over on the computer, I will open up ffprobe on it, show you the creation time of the file is 2025 February 10th. Go ahead and select the file from my downloads, and I'm going to go ahead and send it over to my phone. All right, and it was sent. All right, we're going to open up the gallery. And it looks like it's there, February 2025. It's still showing up, so it has the correct date and it's able to play. So let's see. Yep, the date looks like it's correct. All right, so I've got LocalSend website open here. I'm going to go ahead and download this. This is a really old iPad. It's like the Gen 2 Retina display or second iteration of the Retina display iPad. I'm going to go ahead and install it from the App Store. If you haven't already noticed, the UI is exactly the same across every platform, and that's because this is built with Flutter. Flutter is an open source framework for building and deploying to multiple different platforms from a single code base. The dev is a self-proclaimed fan of Flutter, and it definitely comes through in all of the consistency across the UI. I've got desktop and iPad showing up, so I'm going to go over to iPad. I'm going to select the same file. Well, I'll select the same file first. All right, sent the file, and it's done. I did have to disable saving into gallery for some reason. I think that it's because my iPad is super old and it's not supported. So let me see if I can actually open it up. Go to on my iPad, LocalSend items, and here it is. And it does play. So you might be thinking, how is this supposed to replace AirDrop if you have to connect to a Wi-Fi network? You might be out somewhere and may not have a Wi-Fi network. Well, that's where you take advantage of your phone's mobile hotspot or tethering capabilities. You can create a hotspot network and have the other person connect to it. After that, they'll be able to see your device on LocalSend. LocalSend uses a secure communication protocol that allows all devices to communicate with each other using a REST API. The developer of LocalSend realized that it can't rely on every method being available. For example, some devices might not support multicast, while others may not allow you to run an HTTP server. As a developer, this is the bit that impressed me. Rather than relying on just a single communication method, it tries multiple. I was digging through the GitHub issues page for any signs of a roadmap since the last release had been over a year ago. On the roadmap, there was an issue that was opened at the very beginning of the project. The dev had planned to create a CLI back all the way when it started. And I saw a couple of months ago that the dev came back to the project and was planning to take this up in the near future. But he did say not to get your hopes up. So we'll see. Hopefully this project gets a lot more love and effort going forward. If you run into any issues, there's a dedicated Discord community that's super helpful. There's also a Reddit community, but as of right now, Discord is your best option. At the time of this video, their privacy policy states that they do not collect, store, or process any personal or non-personal data. I've added a link to the privacy policy in the description in the event this changes in the future. A huge thanks to Tien and the other contributors on this project. I've put a link to the website in the description below. Next, I'm looking at whether you should actually be trusting companies with your passwords or if there's a better way. Subscribe so you don't miss it.